Hey, sister.
Hey, sister. I was trying to. Oh, we're starting our podcast with some music this morning. It's got kind of
Like you're sitting on the beach somewhere in a cabana?
like in Ipanema, Brazil.
Yeah.
Yeah. You are listening to the sound of Kara and Mai's Band Lab mix. You can find us there. We like to be occasional DJs, or at least think we are. But we are so glad to be back. I think, honestly, we are really getting into a rhythm where this is just, we do either every 2 or 3 weeks or once a month, and that's okay. We want to thank you all for being subscribers and listeners. I don't know if we've said this explicitly, but this podcast actually kind of launched a lot of our recovery journeys together, like healing journeys. And we were like, let's just start. And it was also a way to connect with our inner child because Kara and I used to record ourselves on a big old boombox all throughout the 80s and 90s. So
we recently came across those tapes too, so I'm going to be taking some sound bites.
Yeah, we will try to have some sound bites. What I do remember distinctly from one recording is Kara like screaming the theme song of Little House on the Prairie. Now,
Scream
singing. If you know anything about that, you know that there's no words to that theme song. So it's
na 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 na.
Okay, so I want to start though with some gratitude again to our listeners and subscribers. Whether you're an occasional listener, we probably should also have a disclaimer. We like to be super snarky. Our podcast is our outlet, not only for processing serious things such as deconstruction in your faith journey or approaches to tackling systemic racism, whatever topics might come out of us at that moment. But also know that if you listen to a podcast and you're like, oh, yeah, I don't like that or I don't agree, that's okay. Maybe that podcast is not for you, but give some others a listen or try to select some that just fancy your interest. So make sure you hit subscribe on our YouTube channel.
She's talking about ours. Listen to some of ours. Not just in general, if you don't like some podcasts.
Right. I mean ours. So if there's episodes of ours that you're like, oh, this is the first one I listened to, I don't like it, or this didn't resonate with me, or this triggered me.
But if you don't really like us, then that's okay too.
Yeah.
We're not for everyone.
So just a disclaimer, there might be some episodes that are snarkier than others. There might be some that are more serious. So whatever you need in that moment, we're just happy that you're here right now, today. And so I wanted to start with a summer story because Kara and I live in the same geographic region of the United States, the Midwest. And we always like to give shout outs, just to incredible things that we see or products or people, whatever. But I wanted to give an opportunity to have you share a funny story that happened when I was visiting about a week ago. And so I'll let listeners hear a piece of it because you know the artist of this song.
My prickly letter stinks. My prickly letter stinks.
Oh, yeah. I wish I don't have the sticky note anymore.
That's your daughter singing My Prickly Lettuce Stinks.
Yeah, we live in a very rural area and a very remote we're like 50% Amish county in northern Indiana. And we live on a road that has 5 mailboxes on the end. And I received a sticky note from our post person, our mail person. I don't know how you say it anymore. Mail woman, mailman.
Postal worker.
Postal worker. It says, please remove your prickly lettuce from the mailbox area. Thank you. On our mail, and I was like, oh no, does she think this prickly lettuce is just ours? There's 5 other families that have mailboxes here.
Or as if
I wonder if, but I have to tell you, she must have put it on everybody's mail because it was gone like
there's
a couple
more to
days
the
later.
story.
So somebody else got the message as well. But I was like, it wasn't even like, yes, there's some weed growth around the mailbox. Yes, it doesn't look great, but also it's not on our lawn, so we don't often take the quarter-mile hike to the mailbox with the weed trimmer. And anywho, it wasn't covering any part of any mailbox, so I was a little confused as to the passion that,
Behind
taking
the
time to
Post-it.
write sticky notes,
The
about
passion
it.
behind the Post-it. So
And it really wasn't that prickly anyhow, even if it
well, they're
would have
weeds.
been.
They're a type of weed. So I was just kind of tickled by the fact that she was
She said prickly lettuce
referring
specifically.
to it very specifically as if you guys had intentionally planted seeds to grow prickly lettuce around the mailboxes. Because
Mhm.
you're a master gardener. Is prickly lettuce a thing?
I guess. I mean, I'm assuming that she knows that's what it is, or she wouldn't have
What?
written it on the sticky note. That's pretty,
They were weeds.
well, they were a little bit prickly. I didn't touch one again because it
Don't
wasn't
look like
blocking my
lettuce.
path to the mailbox. So I'm just unsure.
Maybe she meant prickly leaves and wrote lettuce.
Maybe I think there probably is prickly lettuce, but
Oh.
it was just kind of interesting. When you live a slow paced life, I guess this is what you get.
That's drama. So then
Real housewives of Falling River.
Kara's daughter and me proceeded to be really annoying for about a 30-minute car ride singing about prickly lettuce. So that's why I shared the soundbite. We actually recorded it. I guess that's just what you do when you live in the country. All right, well let's jump in to the Petty Parlor. No, it's early.
Okay.
I know it's early, but pull out that chandelier. We're gonna go into the Petty Parlor.
It's real broken.
Okay, well that's okay. It's about like our feature in this Petty Parlor. It's real broken. So
Yeah.
so it's fitting. It's fitting. So in the Petty Parlor during this time, we just take a moment. I'll have you know I have these if you're listening. They're like the little hand grippers. Kara inspired me to have them back because it does actually keep my hands busy, but strengthens them as I become more of a geriatric millennial.
My hand strength is improving when I have to walk the dog and he weighs a lot and pulls
If you
very
can
hard,
call
so
that,
I don't even need those anymore.
if you want to call that walking, sure.
Yeah, he
Being
pulls me
pulled,
along.
being pulled by your dog. All right, so finally, a Bible just for boys. So this is from I subscribe to her YouTube. Her name is Fundy Friday. Her name's Jen actually, but Fundy Fridays. She does have a YouTube channel, has a lot of different great interviews, and really she unpacks like cults and evangelicalism basically. Like she just unpacks like it's not just evangelicalism. She really unpacks all types of cults. And she recently had God is Gray on, like all these different things. So this is a recent post she had within the last 24 hours on Instagram, and it just really made me laugh. That Zondervan, right? They're like a big producer of Bibles. They're like the number one brand, I think, that publishes Bibles. That's interesting. We should investigate Zondervan as a company sometime. Okay, sidebar. But it says if you're just listening and you're not watching our beautiful faces on our YouTube channel, but you could still go subscribe. But if you're listening, we are looking at an image of a Bible, and it says New International Version. There's something at the top that says Luke 2:52. So I guess
Let me look that up real quick.
in our Bibles because
Go, you move along and I'll look up the verse.
With every head bowed. That's what dirty rotten church kids always say. So apparently Luke 2:52 has significance for this particular translation of the Bible. And then the title of it is Boys Bible, the Ultimate Manual. And then in orange across the bottom, it says, finally, a Bible just for boys. I read it that way because it's got an exclamation point. These are the bullet points on the cover art. Or actually, maybe this is a back cover, and it says, discover gross and gory Bible stuff. Find out interesting and humorous Bible facts. Apply the Bible to your own life through fun doodles, sketches, and quick responses. And finally, learn how to become more like Jesus mentally, physically, spiritually, and socially. Finally, a Bible just for boys, because most
Wait, so is this
translations were not only written by all men already.
and also God is portrayed as a man. Also, so does this Bible teach me socialism since they're teaching about Jesus' social beliefs? I mean, is that what this Bible is going to teach me?
No.
Also, why do I want, as a parent, the first powerful bullet point to be learn gross and disgusting things in your Bible?
And the second bullet point, humorous facts about the Bible. Because that's
And
the
also,
most
is this
important
Bible written in a different, it says New International Version. Is this a different version of the New International, or is it the same New International that I grew up reading and it's been branded as a boys thing, a boys
What
little
happens?
art kit?
What happens if
What?
what happens if I'm a girl and I read it?
A booger catcher. I got my booger farm located between Psalm 23 and Psalm 24.
Where I press my boogers.
Did you ever open up a hymnal at church and find a booger in the cover? Because I have.
Ew. Oh, okay. Tell me what Luke 2:52
Okay.
says, because I'm
Luke
very
2:52 says, hold on. And Jesus grew in wisdom and stature and in favor with God and man. I don't know, say what you will about the boys' Bible. I'm sure to teach me lots about manhood and biblical strength.
gross, gory stuff in the Bible. I just think about all I can picture, because it's so like massive.
It's the Adventure Bible for boys.
The Adventure Bible.
The Adventure Bible.
It's just packaged differently with gross, gory facts, apparently.
It's so messed up. It's so messed up, Justine.
It's, well, the thing about it too is like, I have so much to say about it, and I don't even know where to begin, but it's just reiterating this, like, well, boys only like gross, gory things, or it's just so
right. And they like to sketch and doodle also along with
instead of writing or journaling, because that would be too girly. I can tell you're really holding back when you make these faces. I
have so much the same as you. So much and so little. I just want to leave it on the table, kind of.
Yeah, there's nothing.
I can't.
It's just petty, and
I'm disgusted. Yeah.
Finally.
Finally.
It's everything I've been waiting for.
Well, after 2021 years, it's here. Real biblical manhood. Too bad Jesus didn't know about it. Damn it.
Oh man. Okay. Well.
Okay.
Petty Parlor.
Moving on.
Awfully petty. Well, do you want to try? Let's go ahead and go sage yourself. Because I have a feeling it's pretty funny. Again, Kara has chosen. I selected this Petty Parlor. She's chosen the Go Sage Yourself topic. I have not yet seen it.
For new viewers, new listeners, whatever, we come from a very fundamentalist Christian background, and we still love God and have deep relationship with our Creator. However, have broken, as far as I go, I've broken every single tie with religious structure, and I sort of feel like there are lots of divinely inspired ways to learn about our Creator, including meditation and use of holy scriptures from religions outside of a Jesus one. So anywho, that's my background, and Justine's background is somewhat, similar in the way that we grew up, but we often throw in some humor at the things that we've deconstructed in our own faith, because not because we're sacrilegious and God haters and all of these things, but because it's just kind of funny to look at things truthfully and be okay with laughing at the things that we maybe formally subscribe to at some point in our lives.
I wouldn't, yeah, I
So
wouldn't,
there you
that's,
are.
that's a really
It's
good,
the lens through which we look at our world in a lot of ways.
yeah. No, and that's because, right, our environments, religious, school, the institutions that are created by humans, like those are what reinforce or mold us when we're children. And that, especially if you have parents who were very influenced by the church themselves, whether it was healthy or not, they just were influenced by the church, which I think is very much the era of baby boomers and good American values when they were up against counterculture in the 60s and 70s and like all these movements over time. The church has, in general, a lot of religious sectors, not just evangelical tradition or fundamentalist traditions in Western Christianity. But I will say for myself, yeah, the institution that is church, a long time ago, I think I knew there were gaps and holes, but it was also one of the places where I didn't realize in the moment, like it was actually very hard for me to be in churches a lot of times because I am very intuitive and empathic, and I would not walk away feeling good. I would actually walk away feeling exhausted and drained by the energy pull of
Yep.
so much hurt and pain and grief because I feel it.
Yep.
When I walk in spaces, it's why I can walk into a school and within 10 seconds know what the climate is really like. So it's like, I'm not saying that to be cocky. I just know certain spiritual gifts that I have. And when I look back, like even as much as I was like, well, I'm supposed to go to church, it wasn't because I actually felt super convicted to do that as far as strengthening my own relationship. I would have, or had been trained to feel guilty, right? Like, oh, you're being a bad Christian if you don't do this or whatever. So I will also say I went to an undergrad school, a university of a faith tradition that I did not grow up in, but believed in backsliding and was very religious. And if you're listening, you can probably relate if you went to a Christian university for your undergrad or whatever. But I had a great experience as far as my program. I went there because they have one of the most robust elementary education programs in the state that I lived in. And I look back and I'm like, there were so many things that were so toxic, and they were so like, you have to be this way to be accepted, literally, like at the school, to the point too. And I think to your point, Kara, too, why we end up talking about some of these things so much is because inherently they really do perpetuate a lot of issues of division and oppression we have in the United States. But it's also part of our healing process to be open and honest. I know there's many, many other people in my age range in particular, millennials. There's like a whole pocket of us that were so deeply hurt and impacted by the purity culture movement. So I could talk about all this stuff for days, but all that to also say, as far as our studies and our personal world, outside of the degrees or certifications Kara and I have, I went to a school where you by nature have to take almost what is required to have a minor in like theology or Bible studies. So I was taking courses in legitimately studying the Bible. But anyways, I just say all that to say, I think that's a good point to make of our backgrounds and often why these things come up, because there's a lot of control that happens and a lot of shaming and guilt that happens often in churches.
Well, I love
Again, if you're listening and that hasn't been your experience, that's okay. We're not bashing.
Okay, but
or people.
But no, actually, I just challenge you listeners to examine your own experience, because if you think that you're not experiencing any of this,
It's a
you're
good
lying
point.
to yourself, first of all. We center Western Christianity above all else, and it has been our driving force for supremacy around world on a global scale.
Yep.
And so when we try to go into other places and minister, quote unquote, or colonize other peoples into our way of thinking, it becomes a matter of harm. And so I just want to challenge listeners that if you're in a church body, you're experiencing this to some degree in your congregation.
Agreed. That's a good point.
Western centric Christian being. We are the smallest in the West. Like, this way of thinking is actually the smallest. Like,
Yeah.
globally speaking, we have the smallest percentage of the pot in our belief system as far as Christianity. And Western Christianity looks much different than Eastern Christianity, looks much different than Far East Christian. Like, there are lots of different nuances. There's orthodoxy. There's there's the Ethiopian Orthodox Church, which is like the original Holy Grail, literally, of the Christian empire.
The original scripts and manuscripts and scrolls. That's where
so there's all these things. So when we talk about this stuff, we want to laugh. We want to not cry, because we also don't want to bring harm to the church itself. But it is important, unless you're very beholden to every single thing that you're believing or hearing on a Sunday morning, that's also a problem. You're probably in a cult. No harm, no shade, no foul, whatever. You're probably in some sort of cult thinking or cult of idea. But if you're able to honestly and openly and transparently look at some of the things we're sharing and be like, yeah, actually, this is messed up. This is not who we want to be.
I think you're saying something invaluable, which is, again, we're just sharing transparently where we find ourselves in this moment. And that becomes on you to go do your own investigating and actually asking questions, actually reading, actually educating yourself. Like, it goes back on your shoulders of how you want to perceive and live in the world. Because I can also tell you, and I don't know if I shared this video with you, Kara. I know I shared it with Thaddeus, but because we've seriously considered owning property and living abroad at some point in other countries. Even with little things, America has done a bang up job of really marketing and selling not an accurate story, lies. Because even to this day, one of the examples from this video I was watching on International Living, this woman, she's lived in like 20 countries in the past 20 years, was born and raised in the States, though. She's about my age. And she said her culture shock coming back was when she really looked side by side, cost of living, cost of utilities, freshness of food, access to healthcare without having to jump through hoops, and even simple things like this, where we think we're told we're the best at everything, right? If you're in this bubble of the United States, I believe only like 10% of Americans actually have passports. Okay. It's a big, big world. It is not America. Okay. America rates 144th out of 200 some countries worldwide for internet and cell phone connectivity reliability. So you want to know why all your calls get dropped, or it says you have 5G and it's still not a strong signal and you have to fall off of Zoom calls or Google Hangouts? That's why. We are not the best of the best at a lot of things.
You want to also
and why
know
do we need to say that?
Why
do we need to say we're number one? Why is that even a thing?
Also, our mortality rates for both infants, small children, and like the lifespan of adult is abhorrent for the level of medical and healthcare innovation that we say we have in this country. That we say we have. The numbers would not associate with that information if you actually look at what's going on. All that to say, I love the freedom that we have here, but you also realize the oppression that we have here to go along with that freedom. So what is the saying? 2 dozen of one, half dozen of the other. I don't really know. What is that saying?
Never heard that. I don't know.
Like, give or take, like we're in some ways have more advantages, and in some ways we are living in a very oppressed overall mindset.
I see. Yep.
It's all the same is what I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Okay. Go stage yourself.
All right. Well, let me get the music queued up. And in Go Sage Yourself, again, we just have a moment to say, are we gonna pass our sage to this person or this event that's going on or this group of people, so to speak? Are we going to pass our sage, excuse me, or are we going to say we encourage you to get your own sage? Yeah, so here we find ourselves. I'm going to pull this up. I will wait to light the sage till after I pull up the video because I have not seen this and I'm quite curious. Just don't forget, finally, there's a Bible just for boys. All right, so this is called The Prophet with a Season Pass to Heaven, Part 2. This just recently aired on the Holy Kool-Aid channel on YouTube. So shout out to Holy Kool-Aid, the YouTube channel. Okay, Kara, this is, again, I'm reacting to this as well because I have not seen it yet.
Genetically Modified Skeptic. You can also find me on Twitter and Facebook at GM Skeptic.
Let me tell you, you've never had any pizza like they have in heaven.
Oh,
Pizza?
And I once
Kat
taken
Kerr,
a
she's
pizzeria.
back.
Bet it's not as good as New York pizza. You need that Hudson River water.
And let me tell you, the pizzas are the size of the tables.
I can see Kat Kerr like watching Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, and there's just like giant pizzas falling from the sky, and then she's like, I just had a vision of heaven.
The cultural influence of Italians is just so great. It's so great that it has reached heaven. God himself is trying to emulate the culture.
And you and all your friends sit around them, and they actually turn the table
Oh.
to get their slice of pizza.
That's
Oh.
the Lazy Susan.
I've been to a bakery in heaven where the cinnamon rolls are the size of a dinner plate.
You're
Oh,
not gonna get
Kat.
on a masala, right? You're not.
He likes her carbs.
She's not.
Yeah, he said no chicken masala in heaven for Kat Kerr.
Like if this isn't like Southern white person food, then she didn't see that in heaven. Like, oh no, you can't get masaman curry in heaven. That you can't get pulao or biryani. Like that's no. Like why would you have that in heaven? No.
It's cinnamon rolls and pizza. An Americanized pizza, I'm sure. Should we keep watching? What am I missing?
Yes, keep
here?
going.
Oh,
Keep
season
going.
pass. She has a season pass to heaven. So, Kat
Yeah.
Kerr, if you, just as a reminder, if you go back to, we should see what episode it was.
I have no clue at this
I
point.
want to tell you all what it was. Well, we'll look it up after this. Okay. But there is another one where we were contemplating if we'd pass our sage to Kat Kerr, correct? Yeah, it was Kat Kerr in particular.
Aromas
Yeah.
Back.
See the aromas.
Mhm.
And if you ever try to walk by one of those bakeries in heaven and think you're going to escape, not going inside, you are wrong. That aroma will actually come and capture you and carry you inside the bakeries.
Oh.
What?
Like in a cartoon, you float over to it like Tom and Jerry, sniffing a good pie.
Wow.
I mean, her brain sounds like a fun place to live.
This is literally a
She's not
vision she
wrong.
supposedly had of what heaven is like.
And cinnamon
I'm just
heaven.
well, we'll get on.
Okay.
If you're in heaven, you don't even. Why would you need to eat?
Let's talk about heaven. Where do I live? Oh God.
Everyone gets their own mansion.
So now she's doing it in a church. This isn't just her fantasy sitting in front of a camera talking to her 2 subscribers. She's continuing this
Wow.
fantasy, and an entire congregation is turning up to see her.
Everyone gets their own mansion. You don't have to share it with your brother or sister.
No sharing in heaven.
That's weird because
She just say she hopes to have her own one day.
That's really weird. Maybe there's some sibling rivalry issues deep in Kat Kerr's past or present. What if her and
And some
Kenneth? What if it
entitlement?
came out? What if it came out that her and Kenneth Copeland are brother sister?
or lovers.
Ew. Oh, who? Okay. Sorry, I just can't picture it.
Her own mansion.
Have my own one day.
As many shows as she goes on, you'd think that she would be like one of those super wealthy televangelists by now.
Right.
She's doing it wrong.
They showed me many different types of mansions because we're all different.
Right.
Oh.
We're all unique.
Oh.
Again, good place. This is just
Right.
the good place.
Right.
Oh, poor lady. Do you think she watched the good place and was like, I'm in a I have been transported into heaven, and this is a personal vision to me.
And we all like different things, and God really does prepare the most amazing, personalized mansion for you. I have seen some fantastic mansions that are built along the Crystal Sea. If you're an artist, you get your mansion, you get a studio fully furnished, and then he gives you a gallery.
Cool.
Oh,
Cool.
Way to people. Hasn't
okay. Have you
Yeah,
seen
that can be.
Okay.
Yeah, that's enough.
Let me
You get
also,
the idea.
Yeah. So I want to hear your first thoughts. And actually, let me go here real quick. Let me go back over here. I'm going to look for the other episode just to redirect people, but also here's our channel. You can join our 19 subscribers now by just hitting subscribe. Please do, or share if you find value.
Yeah, and you can even turn on that bell, and then you can know when we upload an episode.
Yes. So what I'm
infrequently as it is.
What I'm trying to do is find, because I know we put her on the cover. There it is. It's called Pro-Life, False Prophets, and JoJo Bows. So Kat Kerr has actually been part of Go Sage Yourself before. This is not her first time. And I wonder, should we go back? Did we both pass our sage to her?
I don't remember. I don't think we need to revisit it.
Okay.
I think people can go watch it because it is a really good episode anyway.
It was really, really good. It's one of our most viewed. But I will also say I'm not basing what I did to her before. I'm pretty sure I did not pass my sage to her. But I'm not basing that on this round of Go Sage Yourself anyways. I'm basing it on her most recent engagement, clearly in this video, where she was telling an entire congregation that you will have personal mansions in heaven, and she's been there and seen it, and the views of the Crystal Sea. What is that? Is that in the Bible? I've never heard the Crystal Sea.
Here's the sticky thing, because I think a lot of people believe and have been taught by the church to believe that prophecy and the gift of prophecy, they don't hold it to the same standard as what they call the Word of God, which are the collection of the books of the Bible. In that viewpoint. So they don't quite put prophecy like this on par with like biblical word. However, as you can see, people of this nature, and I've been in churches growing up. I dated somebody who attended a very charismatic church, and they believe in the baptism of the Holy Spirit, meaning if you don't speak in tongues and you don't prophesy, there's no way that you're connected enough to God to go to heaven or get into heaven. So what else would you have people do than like blabbering all around you and also saying that they can see basically into the future? So prophecy and the gift of prophecy is not about seeing into the future. It's about being able to see clearly from a very high level the current, the present,
and name the
to
truth of what's
use a
actually
wisdom.
happening.
Yes, name it, speak truth to it, and put wisdom behind it, right? So that is the gift of prophecy. So when you see these clowns, I'm going to call her clown because I'm sorry, but Kat, you should be in an artist studio somewhere making art, because you seem like a very creative mind and you have fantastic stories jumbling up in there. You need to probably get them into some sort of children's book ASAP. That is my word for you.
You could write your own adventure like series.
When you are putting that out in the ethos and you're putting it in a church service to where people are coming to get insight, wisdom, and steps on how to in their daily lives, how do I be the best Christian that I can possibly be? How do I live this holy life? How do I actually start receiving visions like Kat Kerr? Because I know that she's a holy person. How come I'm not seeing that in my own life? What am I not doing? What sin have I got that's blocking all this vision of abundance and blah, blah, blah? It becomes a very toxic like way to level people and put a hierarchy around religion and who is the in and who are the outs.
Because you start keeping tabs on who is divine and who's not and who's gifted. And newsflash, we all have spiritual gifts and we're all creatives because we're made in the image of the Creator. If you choose not to use those gifts, that's on you, not your inability to tap into the creator, because we all have access all day, every day. That's just, it's a reinforcement of toxic supremacy thinking of, yeah, but if I can make myself feel above, or make people feel like I have access to information they don't, it's a classic tactic of oppression and hierarchy.
Also, why is your version of heaven that you have your own individual mansion that you don't have to share with anybody?
And you have a
Like, I'm thinking of heaven. I'm
and a
giving
cinnamon
my
roll
Miss
as big as a
America
plate.
answer. World peace. I want heaven to be somewhere where everybody has clothes, food, and shelter and is happy, and their body is intact, and nobody is hurting or in pain.
Yep.
Like, yeah, no, Kerr says, I get my own mansion and it has its own little artist alcove and I don't have to share with anyone. Like, what?
Well, you see what her motivation is. It shows very
What
clearly.
do you think about people down here on Earth?
Right. Well, and also, why are you telling people you have seen it? You have seen it, and you have
Right.
seen pizza as big as a table that's on a Lazy Susan and a plate that has a giant ass cinnamon roll. I don't understand where that comes from, other than
And they actually pull
maybe
you into their bakery.
maybe you're on something and you just have the munchies. I don't know. But like, where did that vision come from? Because what translation of the Bible talks about pizza and cinnamon rolls? I mean, did I
Yeah.
miss something in Sunday school?
Tough to know.
Did I miss
It's
something in
tough to
Sunday
know,
school?
but you know what? We would be major, what do you call it? Apostates for calling her out right now because she's a woman of God.
She's a revelator. That's what her title said in the
Oh yeah, that is what she called herself, the Revelator.
The Revelator.
You know,
So I've got the same.
if anybody, no, not passing it. So sorry.
I'm
She
not
can grab her own. She
I'm not
seems to
either.
have an abundance
I'm not
of
either, because
visions,
I
so
think,
she can figure out where her sage is.
yeah, I will not pass my sage to her either. I think that there's too many people similar to her, and not just in evangelical space, in spiritual circles, whatever. They're just trying to hijack people's fears or people's deepest wants, or apparently what she thinks people's deepest wants are is a pizza and cinnamon roll. Like, you're trying to capitalize on base, like, things that sound attractive to people, but you're not actually teaching them ways of healing their life. And that is the issue that I know for Kara and I, it is a source of triggering, because you're just wanting to actually take people's money or control people or make them feel shamed or in a position that is powerless, but you're not willing to actually teach people how to do better and how to model that, because you yourself don't know. Like, you're literally making a statement that sounds like something a 5-year-old hurt child who got their toy taken away and had to share with a sibling, and you're still salty about it. Like, that
Maybe you didn't get all the pizza and cinnamon rolls you
right,
wanted.
like, it's your own, what you wish you would have.
What she wants to say is, so I can eat that shit every day and not get fat. Is that what she wants to say?
I don't know. Is there any part of you, I mean, we already made our decision. Is there any part of you that legitimately thinks she is just a person who's done a lot of drugs? No, I'm being serious. Like, I mean, those are things that somebody who's like on mushrooms or LSD would say.
I think that it wouldn't surprise me, but I also wouldn't have, I would rather she be like, I'm the revelator. I get my revelations by taking shrooms.
Yeah,
If
which
that's
I
the
don't, I
case.
mean, I'm not saying that in judgment. I'm saying, is there any part of you at all that just thinks that she like has a drug
No,
problem?
there's a part of me that thinks that she has mental illness going on that's not being addressed.
Okay.
Because of the circles that she chooses to run in. She is seen as like she's getting divine visions, but maybe she's a very hurt person also.
So those visions aren't actually clear. She might be
but
getting
she's being
visions.
treated as, well, right. She might be actually delusional in
Yeah.
what the psych world would call like actual delusions.
Right.
But the Christian ethos would just say, yeah, that must be of God because my brain isn't big enough to think of that or whatever. I don't know.
Pretty scary though. Pretty scary when you start to see the patterns of
Real
what
scary.
people will tell an entire audience of captive people who they want nothing more but to have healing in their lives. And these are the people who are then sharing this.
The problem is that this is an extreme example. We realize that, but also you have remnants of this in your own churches. Again, like,
Right.
look at the situation. Like there are remnants of this and echoes of this in every single congregation in the United States
Agreed.
in some form or another. There's a person that's been defined as the person, the spiritual warrior, the person that holds the truth in that certain congregation or body, who's looked to with respect and almost worshipped in certain ways. Like, it's not an open dialogue. If that person gets up in front of the church one day and decides they received a word from God, which often is how it's presented, then they're allowed to say whatever they want because God said it. They didn't say it. They're just the messenger. Y'all know I'm the messenger, right? So if you knew that and you accept that, and you have to accept it unconditionally to attend at this body, like, people can say whatever the hell they want.
Which is why then people broadly and inaccurately, in my opinion, say that the Bible is the word of God. It's a whole other debate.
God did not create an idol. Like, God did not create an idol for you there. Okay. So like,
Because
if you're
it's a cop-out
worshiping the
then,
word,
it's a cop-out then, because a pastor or a person like this who says they're a revelator, whatever they call themselves, they will then twist it and say, well, I'm just sharing what the word of God told me. But because their congregation has already idolized them, they've become an idol, they've put them on a pedestal, and that is on the pastor if that happens. Sorry, it is. Partly a majority of that is how a pastor conducts themselves, how they connect with people.
yeah, because in our ancient tradition, Jesus was Jewish, and the Jewish tradition is rabbis and commoners gather in the temple and they have dialogue and they talk openly about things, and they fight back and forth and they say, no, it actually says this, and the other guy says, no, it actually says this. It's dialogue. It's not about one guy standing in the front telling everybody this
and saying, this is what the word of God told me. And so when you frame things that way, or somebody is using that language to say, well, this is what the word of God says. No. This is their interpretation and their projection of how they decided to read a particular passage in the Bible, which, by the way, most of that was translated or written by flawed men. And it'd be no different than Kara and I, or any of you, just saying, I wrote this entire interpretation of what God spoke to me about in a dream. That is, or writing about a travel experience I have where I'm serving at a soup kitchen. Like, that's what they were writing about, were their trials and tribulations and how they were trying to show Jesus'
and ancient
love.
stories that were passed down by word of mouth over thousands of years up until that point. So you actually have to do the digging, look a little deeper. Your Bible didn't just land on a platter for you. No. King James compiled that Bible, and do a little research on King James and see what kind of man he was, and if you would have wanted his advice on any holy compilation of anything. Probably not.
Yeah, so I think that's
and also look at how the Bible itself has been weaponized.
Right. Yeah. So
for purposes of perpetuating lots of different things.
So that's a no-go. Sorry, Kat. Once again, you do not get our sage. I wanted to shift us a little bit. I've been telling Kara, I've apparently, since Mercury retrograde ended, I've just been having surges of creativity, or just snarkiness maybe. So I had an idea for a segment, that I'd like to introduce, actually two, but I need to play the soundbite first. Okay, that's Theo, I didn't mean to hit that one.
Praise God, baby.
Praise God, baby. But I played, Dirty Little Secret. If you're a millennial, you might remember a little band called the All American Rejects. I'm pretty sure they weren't rejected by America, but okay. Now that I think of that name, I could only think of that little hook for this segment. I'll keep you my dirty little secret. And so the segment that I had in mind, I don't know if you've been thinking of yours, Kara, or if you even remember the premise, because I do have one to share, is a segment called Dirty Little Self-Help Secrets. So my thought with this is to start to really put ourselves out there vulnerably, right? Because one of the things I see happening, I saw Jenna Kutcher, shout out to Jenna Kutcher. She's like the Pinterest queen, one of the OG like influencers, for lack of a better word, but legitimately she was a photographer and had a photography business, like an OG entrepreneur that Kara and I have followed for years, right? So anyways, she recently posted how Pinterest is actually like, they are not allowing ads anymore for things that, I forget the language, but basically any like weight loss, waist trainers, like all of these things that have unfounded claims. And they're essentially scams, but they want to make sure that their platform doesn't contribute to like anti-body positivity, basically. So it's pretty cool, right? So you can look up Jenna Kutcher on Instagram, but it got me thinking, because she just talks and says herself, even she has tried so many different things over the years. And I think for women in particular, which I think 95% of our listeners are women, we have some listeners in other countries. Hey, we'd love to have more, so keep sharing this. But main audience base for us is going to be women between 25 and 50 in the United States. That's our main listener audience. So hello to you all. And if you're not in that, hello to you too. But one of the things for women in particular is that we are constantly bombarded with all of these offers for making your skin clearer, like basically all of the presentations of ads or sponsored ads we see on most social media are something to point out something that you should be discontent with about yourself. And so when I started thinking about it, I'm like, oh, that'd be cool to do a segment called Dirty Little Self-Help Secrets. Because one thing for Kara and I, like, and why I say this podcast has been healing, is because this is our way of processing things. This is our time to show up. But then we have spoken, we'll drop the link in here again. We've spoken about a waitlist we have right now for our new course that's going to be coming out. It's actually different learning pathways and experiences, but it's called Identity Healing, the Art of Knowing You. And so we're very, very vulnerable and transparent in there and share a lot of personal stories. However, we know that a lot of, for our free, right, our free content, like our podcast, our YouTube channel, etc., those are areas where we want to keep it a little lighter. We know that you all like to listen to funny and not always have it be heavy, conversation. So I thought this would just be a cool way to break the ice and have a laugh about all the different things we try over the years. And, I just thought, dirty little self-help secrets. And I wanted to know if you have a dirty little self-help secret you'd like to share. It could go all the way back to teenage years even, who knows? But I'm sure we all have tried anything and everything for whatever particular woes we struggle with in our own.
Well, I know there are a lot of Beachbody people,
Me?
coaches. Yeah, you're still in it, and to win it.
I'm still technically a coach. Yeah.
Well,
I'm definitely still a subscriber to the.
I think that the on-demand is great. I think it's very accessible for people and a way to offer a lot of things you can do in your home. I think that is beautiful. But one program that they had, and okay, and I also have to say, I felt for a minute I was surrounded by Beachbody coaches. Like this had to been like 5 years ago, between the last 5 and 10 years. Suddenly, Beachbody coaches were everybody I knew,
Yep.
and I really couldn't escape it. Um, so I ended up buying into a couple of the things. Like the first thing I ever invested in, self-help wise or self-care wise, was that little program that you do the little colorful containers of
Yep.
food and you do
Autumn
certain
Calabrese
ones.
21-day fix.
Yes. So, but then I sort of like stared at that container thing and I'm like, wait, I could have just bought a pack of like I have Tupperware of all these sizes.
Mhm.
Why, like, what did I just spend all that, like $150? I think it was like
Yeah.
$150 or
Yep.
something for a book to tell you how many containers you should be eating for your targeted body weight. And to be honest with you, I would just cram as much shit as I possibly could, like to the point where it would almost ruin the food because I would just try to cram as much in there because you could do that. It
Yeah.
was within the guidelines or whatever. But honestly, looking back, I'm like, why did I do that? Like, I know how to eat healthy. I know how many servings my body needs. For
Right.
some people, I think that would be a helpful visual, at least for a time or two to train yourself. Um, but I felt ultimately like I just bought $150 worth of small Tupperware that
Yeah.
really.
No, I'm still a fan. I no longer do like their shakes or drinks because as I looked into it more too, there's just like a lot of unnatural products, honestly.
Yeah.
And I say that as a person who is still a coach because I do love Beachbody On Demand. I need to use it more often, honestly, because there are a lot of great workout programs. But I found the same thing, at least for me, because often like when I got really in shape and was doing their shakes and stuff every day too, it was when I had just resigned from my job and I dropped weight and I got in fantastic shape. Kara remembers I would do the workouts at her house sometimes when I'd be visiting, and I enjoy that to an extent. The problem is then that because I still had a lot of internal healing to do, that wasn't going to stick because instead of spending time like I do now, focused on learning about myself and doing the internal work, it was still just
And knowing what feels good in your body to do.
correct.
Yeah.
So I hadn't healed a lot of like body dissociation stuff. And so because of that
Yeah.
and not being as in touch with my body, yes, I loved the results and the way my body looked, but then that was what it was about above anything else. And so that wasn't going to be like I could devote 2 hours a day to working out and doing all the meal prep and everything because I had not a lot going on because I couldn't find a job. So
Well, it's
like
not
there's those
reasonable
pieces
for a
too.
person that has other things going on. Like it has to be a sustainable way of living.
Right.
And when you have like these coaches that are well intended and all of that,
They
they've
are,
also
but
been
many of
trained
them also
in many ways.
yeah.
Like, and to a degree where I've had people reach out to me on, I know you've had the same thing happen. Like, are you interested in getting on track with your fitness? No, bitch. Like, I'm good.
Yeah, and
Why are you
assuming?
reaching out assuming that
Right.
I'm not well in my fitness level? I look pretty good
Right.
and I feel good. And like you have no business coming in my inbox offering me something you think by looking at my profile that I might need. Or you didn't even bother to see like what I even am about. Oh,
Correct. Yeah.
sorry. I get
Well,
heated because I've had more than one person and then you say no and it's like, or you just ignore it. Hello, like I could see you saw the message or
I think
whatever.
you
It's
run
like, I
into
don't
that.
owe you an explanation.
When I look at it now, and Kara and I have always done different multi-level marketing things. It's not that we were in Mary Kay together. You still have a multi-level marketing with your makeup, like Saint,
I
because
do.
like,
I have
but like
mixed
I'm saying,
feelings on
those vultures
yeah.
exist, and no matter, like you do have to find your sweet spot, how you want to interact with that product or that program or whatever. I don't think it's all bad. I think it's when you have the people who they're actually just looking at the bottom line and trying to make money. They're the ones who then are usually operating that way because they're not healed people. They're people who are treating it like a business, which is not bad, But when you are doing fear-based business, which a lot of business uses that tactic, you're just making people feel bad about themselves so you can make some money. Like, that's what you're doing. And I will say, like, being on the inside of that, they train you in a lot of ways, or these coaches try to teach you about it. And I tried some of those tactics. Forgive me if you're listening and I ever message you or tried a tactic. But like, even my approach then, I didn't feel comfortable using some of that stuff that they would be like, oh, just script this message. No, I would script my own message and say, hey, this is a really—
Are you excited?
Yes,
Are
I
you
know.
excited?
No, or it would be like they would comment, right? Because I would share my journey on Facebook at that time, and they would comment. So I would follow up and say, "Hey, I noticed your comment. If you're ever interested in the products I've been using, let me know." So like, that's the thing. And I had other people who got good results, who did some things with me, but I just didn't stay with it either, because I was searching for more than having that as my entrepreneurship place. So I would say for me, what I wanted to share was, at one point I saw one of those courses or ads pop up for, like, it was a guy, and he was like a relationship coach that helps you understand men better. And so I hate to admit it, but I did buy his, like, whatever the offer was for the lame online course that's just like evergreen and they're not really teaching it. I definitely bought one of those at some point. Wait, what? What are you saying? I couldn't hear you. I can't hear you.
How to be the perfect woman for your man, from my manly perspective.
Yeah. That's what it was. So it's really hard for me to admit that, but I bought into one of those years ago, and not that it was a huge investment. It was just, I think that's why I call it dirty little self-help secrets, because we all have these things we've tried, and we don't, and we would be embarrassed. We would be embarrassed to admit it.
It's no different than going to Walmart and buying something on the end rack that looks really cool, and oh my gosh, I can't believe this is such a good deal, and then it breaks in the car on the way home. Of course.
That's how they get you. These are fear-based they capitalize on your hurt or your pain point. I mean, just be alert, people. Be alert for those dirty little self-help secrets. Okay, so final segment I want to try out, and I would be I never meant to get back to listeners. First of all, when we were thanking people at the beginning, what I meant to say is, thank you for the feedback. We do have one of our subscribers. She texted me personally, and which you all can do. If you don't have our phone number, you can DM us, or always on the podcast. If you're listening on any platform, there's a link where you can send us a voice memo. So you can ask us questions or tell us a topic you want, or maybe about your own dirty little self-help secret, or if you have something for this next segment, which you might, that's a way that you can do that very easily. It's just drop us a voice memo. And you don't have to leave your name or anything. We can just play it on the air, or we can say your question. So you don't have to leave a name or anything. But one of our subscribers and regular listeners, she's like, thank you so much for your podcast. I listened on the way home from work. You and your sister remind me of me and my sister. It's so sweet. What would we do without our sisters? So thank you. You know who you are. Also, then she added, we finally, Andrew Santino, you didn't respond to us. So we finally figured out, and she's a ginger. I forgot that she's a natural ginger, because she's often had her hair dyed sometimes when I see her, but she is actually a ginger. And she said, P.S., my perspective is non-gingers can absolutely call us gingers. There's no offense here. I've come to my own gingerness. I'm only one opinion, but I'd love to know more opinions on this.
Aww.
So that's from one of our subscribers. So thank you so much. And if you have other questions, or you just want to respond to something we talked about, put it in the comments on YouTube, or do the voice memo on Spotify, Google, Apple, whatever podcast platform. Okay, so last segment. I think that life is a lot like just a big adventure, and I'm constantly asking questions. So I thought that the perfect soundbite to lead into this segment would be a song Kerr is familiar with.
Oh. I'm so triggered right now. My husband told me the other day he hates the word triggered. I said I kind
Really?
of do too,
He's
but
triggered
there's
by the
no
word
really
triggered. He's triggered.
there's no better way. There's no better way to explain the thing that happened.
So we do have one of our relatives actually played bass for many years and toured with Stephen Curtis Chapman. So if you didn't know, now you know. I actually have always loved Stephen Curtis Chapman. I think when I go back and listen to his music now, I actually think he's very much like aligned with like the study we're doing with the Artist's Way. And like, I don't think he's like a super evangelical. I don't think he's ever been. I
No,
think
but
he's
the
truly
reason
a creative.
you know why I'm triggered by it.
Yes. But okay, so anyways, that's an old song from the 90s in Christian circles. Saddle up your horses, Stephen Curtis Chapman, we love you. But I thought it would be just a fun way to trigger Kara. But also, life really is a big, great adventure. And that's what that song is all about if you've never heard it. So this final segment with that end, meaning we're here for a while, you know, if we're lucky, we get to be in our human bodies for a while, and we're all going to have these questions about life. And I know for me, I probably wonder and ask questions more than the average person because I'm just a nerd and I'm curious and it's part of my nature. But the name of this segment, tell me what you think of it, Kara. The questions no one will ask, but someone will more than likely probably wonder about the answer to sometime before they die. That's the name of the segment.
I mean, it's really long. I love it, but I also don't love it.
So there you go. Weigh in. Tell us what to call this segment.
We'll keep it. Yeah. Please put your suggestions.
Yeah.
It's not set in stone. I mean,
clearly,
it's just new to me. So
I just thought of
I say keep it for now.
I just thought of a really
it's way too long.
I know. I thought of a weird random question, and I'm like, that is what describes that type of question. So if you
what is it?
Another way to say it, then my question was, how much saran wrap is a normal amount to use annually?
Oh, I say a roll or less, I think.
For a year.
I have a family of 5 and I don't use saran wrap like religiously. I try to use glass.
I was using it for something and I wondered the question and I thought,
how many do you go through?
Not many at all. Maybe one. I'm one person and I don't really use saran wrap that much.
I just bought my second roll not that long ago. I started using it more because I always find it really tricky and I just get frustrated and just put it back in the drawer and use foil instead. Or I try to use a lot of like lidded containers that are reusable.
Yeah. Because then it's also fresher.
Or Ziplocs. Saran wrap infuriates me. And especially if you don't get a brand that sticks to itself or you have to stretch it a certain way for it to be sticky, it's very frustrating.
I find it a frustrating tool as well. But that was the thought.
It is cool, kind of.
It's really cool. But I was just wondering it when I used it because I'm like, yeah, I haven't used saran wrap in months. I wonder how much people usually go through.
I have a question that everybody, like, this is something that comes to mind because I just found out that my husband doesn't like reach down and wash his feet. He uses his other foot to wash his feet.
What? Oh.
Because he's really tall and he says he can get it. And I have watched him do it. And he like puts soap on and then he uses his other foot to like scrub in between. And then obviously the bottom is on the bottom of the shower, I guess, where he like lifts the one foot up and kind of goes like this. It doesn't seem great, but I mean, he doesn't have foot fungus to my knowledge, and his nails are like as nice as toenails can be.
So what's the question
the question is, do you think more people, like there's a lot of people like that don't wash their legs or feet because it's not necessary because the water and soap just runs down? Do you wash your legs?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, me too. But I think there's some people that probably don't. Let us know in the comments. Maybe you're.
Yeah, let us know. Like, weigh in on this, because that is, I mean, again, that is a question that a lot of people won't ask, but they'll probably more than likely wonder the answer to sometime before they die.
Yeah. Or washcloth versus a loofah. Do you use a washcloth or a loofah, or do you use both? Or do you use neither? Do you just use your hands?
It depends. It depends on the situation. It depends on where I'm at, because I travel quite often, or I'm back and forth between my apartment and Thaddeus's apartment. Although,
Oh, so you want to take your loofah?
no, he and I's wash practices are similar. So we both have the same tools for one another and ourselves.
Oh, okay.
For any,
Okay,
like, yeah. So that's good, because that could be a major misalignment.
Do you share wash tools? Do you share wash tools?
No. So I do, if I'm there, I do just
I'm willing to share a wash tool. I've shared a toothbrush with my husband before.
We've never shared toothbrushes. So that's interesting, though. That's interesting. I want to hear from other partnerships. Like, if you're in a partnership and you're at a level where you are spending time at each other's places, or you do live in the same place, whatever. Either way, we want to hear from you. So, like, comment.
The Bible says that you'll join together and the two become one. So I just thought that was a translation that I needed to validate in all areas.
I interpret that as, like,
I'm just kidding. I'm just
consummating. But I find that curious that you all are willing to do that, but yet you've admitted on previous podcast episodes,
I will not let the bathroom door open.
You never go to the bathroom with the door open. You've never seen each other going to the bathroom.
Nope.
And you've been together almost 20 years.
Yeah.
You were together a long time.
It keeps it magical. Yeah.
See, and I would disagree. For us,
I don't want to see him shit.
That's fine. That's a personal preference. I don't want anybody using my toothbrush. But I
don't want to see it. I don't want to smell it. I don't want to see the facial expression that comes along with it. Like, I just don't want to I don't want to witness it. And I'm sure he feels the same.
Okay, sorry. Let's name it what it is. It's a privilege that you have more than one space or one bathroom to use. If you're both, like, I'm only going to say it this way, okay? Because for us, sometimes it is not an option for one of us to wait to get ready, because both of our homes only have one bathroom. And so there's a bathroom emergency and I have to get ready to go to meetings or something, and vice versa. Like, you don't get to just go,
it's so manageable. Because I can always do this other stuff in a different area. You know, he can't go to the bathroom, or I can't go to the bathroom in this area, but everything else is portable to a different area of the home. The kitchen sink, for example.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's true. It's not a matter of privilege. It's a matter of.
I still don't quite understand how you're so willing to share a toothbrush, but just the sight of,
like, here, I need to use your toothbrush. Or like, here, use my toothbrush. Let me watch you use it.
So then
or something weird.
Would you have a problem sharing the same washcloth with him?
No.
Really?
No.
I don't know, man. That's a whole other level. People use a washcloth to wash their crack.
I know.
And then what if you use it, like, all over?
I don't use a washcloth on my face or my body. Well, parts of my body.
I like to use not even a loofah. I have, like, it's like a mitt you put on your hand, but it
that skin to exfoliate.
Yeah, I use that in my shower sometimes. I take baths a lot. I'm not even sure
I prefer bar soap. I prefer bar soap.
I have both. I use Honey Girl skincare bars, but I also have I usually always have, like, an organic body wash too, just in case I
like
lathering up.
a strong Coast or Irish Spring in the summer months when you're a little sweatier. And then I like Dove in the winter, colder months. Because it moisturizes
You
your
do
skin.
like
But
your
I don't
Irish
really like
Spring.
body wash. I do. I like Coast the
Which
best.
is so weird. Which is so
my
weird because I feel
favorite.
like you're very Victorian in a way, and you like perfumes and
Like I should always smell like lavender.
yeah, that are like gardenia, lavender, very floral notes. But
No, I love
soaps, you're like Irish Spring. I like to smell a little bit like a man.
I love that fresh, sharp smell of being clean and just only having that soap smell for part of the day.
Does Irish
I love
Spring
that.
make one just for men? I feel like they do. Or they have one
maybe.
that
Dove
smells
does.
extra manly, because I'm pretty sure I used that one time at Thaddeus's.
Yeah, the cool Arctic
and
blast. I don't like
and I don't think that I didn't like it, but it was too late. I had already taken a shower and it was what was in there. And then I realized when I got out, and I don't think he liked it because, it felt like he's sitting next to somebody who smells like him.
like he's sitting next to himself.
Yeah. And the point is, pheromones and everything, like you're drawing.
I use my husband's cologne sometimes. Sometimes I just like to smell manlier.
A musk?
I like unisex colognes. I prefer.
That's why I'm kind of surprised that he's not more into, like you told me when I walked into your house last time, because I had on Chanel Mademoiselle, which has a very spicy patchouli scent to it.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
you
smelled like our grandpa.
And well, those always smell good on me.
Yeah.
And
it does smell good on you.
Yeah.
I'm not allowed to wear that in my house.
I know.
It's so like my husband has such an aversion to patchouli. I bought some that was supposed to be a soft version of just like a fragrance oil one time. And he was like, ugh, ugh, you smell like hippie or something like that. That's what he said. I was like, oh, thank you. Wait.
Well, it takes one to know one.
Like, I thought you would like this vibe. You used to like the
I'm saying if he wears musky cologne, that's what I'm not understanding why he wouldn't like.
He doesn't. He wears like a fresh, like citrusy, sharp, that kind of smell. He's not a big musky. Okay. I'm not a big musk person either. Typically, I like vanilla. That's his musky.
Well, I feel like there's things that smell really good on you and they don't smell good on me, and vice versa. Like Kara has inherited.
I really love citrus.
Yeah, like have you been able to wear that green tea one I gave you?
It's a bit much.
It was disappointing. It wasn't what the description. It to me did not live up to what the description.
I like it. I also wear a day perfume and a night perfume. I have a roller ball for the evenings that I put on right before bed because I like the way I smell. I want to smell good when I crawl into bed.
But I also share my toothbrush. That's what I mean.
I usually,
some of these
I don't use
don't align, Kara.
I don't use a perfume during the day because it can be too strong. I use like a body spray. My favorite is Love Spell by Victoria's Secret. And I also just like using grapeseed oil and putting a splash of grapefruit essential oil in it, just like fresh smelling. But I'm a big smells person.
I was really into a Victoria's Secret perfume for a couple years there, but it was a muskier one. It was not Love Spell. It was like
Amber Romance.
Yeah.
I tried that one. I couldn't love it.
That was my go-to for a while in my 20s.
I want to have a really sexy smelling perfume. Like Ralph Lauren Romance is the most like the man version of it. It's one of my favorite all-time smells. I can wear that. But like, and that's kind of spicy and sultry and sexy. I also like the women version. But like, I want to wear Chanel or something, but I can't.
Well, you just have to find the right one because there's some Chanels I can't wear at all. They just don't smell nice on me. And so I had to find the right one with them, with Prada, with any brand. YSL is the same. Black Opium is my go-to for them.
That's intense.
Is
that the one that comes in the stiletto heel? Or is it the bottle that looks like purple and it has like the little yeah.
That one is my winter scent. It's a little dark.
I have winter scents too. I have
Yeah, I
have
do
spring,
use
summer, winter, and fall scents.
Summer is usually like Prada Candy. I added
Mhm.
Chanel Mademoiselle this summer.
Mhm.
And I also like Marc Jacobs Daisy and Marc Jacobs Love, which has a bottle, like the top is a giant daisy, but there's certain ones like I'm either going to be kind of on the side of sweeter, fruitier, or like really intense and musky. Apparently my body just absorbs those really intense scents. But like usually when it's gardenia or things that are like more floral, I can't do the more floral. Like a lot of the stuff
No rose, no
smells great on you, but
gardenia. No,
why is
I
that?
don't think
Just
floral does it.
unique.
Like
Is it is it the unique like makeup of your skin and the oils in your skin? Is that what it is?
yeah, and your hormones and pheromones and I don't know.
So my pheromones must be extra intense. That's why I connect with those scents.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, well, that was a great adventure all about life. So I think the song is fitting. So, but tell us what questions you have that more than likely somebody will probably wonder about before they die. And yeah, I guess this is our episode. It's been fun.
And let us know in the comments, like, do you use each other's like in your partnerships? Do you use each other's toothbrushes?
Share
and
loofahs, do you share wash rags?
that kind of stuff. It's not weird. I don't think it's weird one way or the other. It's just preference.
I mean, our goal is to have in our home that we purchased together, our goal is to have either a large enough bathroom that there's separate spaces, right?
I just thought of something.
Or
what if my husband doesn't know that I've been using his washcloth?
Oh, so you've already actively been using it?
I mean, sometimes.
You're gross. Okay, really, we need to know your response to that, though.
Very good.
We need to know their response. Do you share a washcloth with your partner? We need to know. We would never. I shouldn't say never, but we just don't. If we would absolutely have to, like, right, we only had one at a hotel for some reason. I don't know. But if we had to, it'd be fine. But I'm just not. I mean, do you know for certain if you never even watch each other go to the bathroom? Here's what I'm going to prove, Kara. You don't actually know for certain where he uses that washcloth.
I mean, it's okay.
It's not. What if there's like, never mind. I'm not even going to go there.
Don't even go there.
Go there other than I just keep thinking about what comes out of all of our butts. And everybody like has different hygiene standards and different ways of wiping. And I don't know. I get it though, because obviously you're intimate with your husband. Like I get the insanity of what I'm saying, because there's that part of obviously you're with this person in the bedroom all the time in very open ways.
Yeah.
But then there's also the human nature of like, I don't actually know where all you wash yourself with that. I don't know how you wipe. Although I do. I see me and my partner know how each other wipes because we're not afraid to be in the bathroom at the same time.
It needs a little more mystery for me. It needs a veil across that. Just leave the veil up.
The veil has been lifted. You can't stop it. You can't stop it. Okay. Well, this has been fun.
We better wrap this up.
Should we like actually do a thumbnail so I don't have to search back through for images?
Yeah, what should we do?
Should we
what do you want to post?
What did we talk about? Should we both
Nothing. You can't, people just don't know. People don't hold stuff.
Yeah,
in
they
thumbnails.
do like in mukbangs, yeah.
Here, what if I just go like this? No. Just no. There's plenty of good ones.
I'll create one. Alrighty. Well, it has been real. But please give us your feedback. Weigh in on the Ginger's question still, because we've heard from one Ginger and she says we can call her a Ginger. So maybe she said maybe other Gingers feel differently. All right. Bye, sister.
Bye, sister.